Ameera from the Exile Lioness is back for round two. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Last time we did a video and it had actually really good results. Probably most likely thank you for those results because I think the majority of your viewers came over to check it out. And I
Thank
know,
you.
and I did get a bunch of your viewers to subscribe, so that was really nice. So I appreciate it. And now you're doing me another favor, and you're coming on and you're doing round two with me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first time, and we didn't get a chance to actually finish everything,
Right.
so I think we can get that over with today.
Okay, cool. So last time we had touched on Kevin Samuels, and then we had done Kevin Samuels, and then we started with MGTOW, and then you had to leave. So we should just dive into MGTOW and how it developed, and if it helps or hurts, or the reasons behind it, and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna give you the floor, and I'm gonna let you tell Serious and Silliness what you think about MGTOW and how it came about, and so on and so forth.
Are the kids loud in the background?
No, I don't hear anything actually.
You don't hear anything?
Nope. Very,
Oh,
very little. Very, very little.
because I like want to go down there and tell them to quiet down or not. I don't know if I should. Okay. All
Right.
right. Well, if you can't hear them, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right. So MGTOW, as we were saying, MGTOW, men going their own way, as I see it, is just a reaction to current state of women. It's just a reaction to what's happening with women, and it's a natural reaction. Just as women, I would almost. I know MGTOW people don't like to hear this, but I will almost say that MGTOW is kind of like feminism for men. I mean, for women. Yeah, feminism for men. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I hear
it's
what you're
like
saying.
feminism for men
Right.
in the sense that in feminism, it basically says we don't need a man. We can do anything we want by ourselves.
Mhm.
I'm going my separate way. I'm not going the marriage way. Well, the same thing is happening with the MGTOWs, and
Mhm.
they don't like to be referred to that way as like men's
Mhm.
feminism, but it is what it is.
Right.
Right. I think the kids are a bit loud. I think I need to go hush them.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Good. Good.
Yeah.
Don't take your time. I could always edit this out.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Like I said, I could edit all that out. No big deal.
Sorry.
That's all right. So okay. Okay. So basically what we're saying is it's like every reaction has a natural reaction back to it, right?
Every
Um
action has a reaction.
right,
Right.
exactly. Every reaction has a natural reaction. And that's I agree. I think that's what MGTOW is.
I also wanted to tell you,
Go ahead.
just real quickly, I don't know how good this reaction is. You were asking if it's a positive or a negative.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know because although we can say it's negative because men shouldn't give up and so on and so forth, but it's also kind of a positive because it kind of shows women, look, we're getting tired of it. It's a way of showing women that we're tired of it. We're getting to the point where we don't even want to associate or be around you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it is kind of a good thing because it does bring awareness,
Right.
but it's
Right.
a bad thing for the future
Sure.
because many families are not going to happen because of it.
Yeah. You see, there's a conversation piece that is always left out of MGTOW when people talk about MGTOW because they intentionally leave it out. And that's toxic femininity. Um, Anybody who talks about MGTOW leaves that part out if they just want to say that these guys are basically simps, or they're just weak, or they just can't handle today's women, or so on and so forth. But the truth of the matter is, the majority of these guys have been exposed to tremendous amounts of toxic femininity. Do you want to give that a go and tell me what you think toxic femininity is?
I don't believe in putting a gender to add with the word toxic. I don't believe in toxic masculinity or toxic femininity. I don't believe that toxicity can be assigned to any genders. I do believe that toxic behaviors can occur in either gender.
Right.
So, although I do like to play the game with the left, I do like to play the game of like, okay, you want to talk about toxic masculinity, then I'll talk about toxic femininity. But in all seriousness and silliness, I don't believe it is a thing. I don't believe that gender can be toxic. Okay, I can't, But I do want to say this.
Good.
I do believe that a lot of these MGTOW people and a lot of the men that are choosing to go their own way, I do believe that they have been hurt. Okay, I know that's not the right way to say it, because a lot of people are like, who hurt you?
Yeah.
Everyone has been hurt. Okay, so I do believe that they've been hurt, possibly by their mothers, possibly by their women in their family, and possibly by lovers.
Right.
So in some way, we're all ended up hurt. I think women hurt people more than men in a lot of ways. And I don't know if you agree with me there, but
no, and today's standards, I do agree that women do most of the hurting in today's world. The one thing that I will disagree with you about is that there is, in my estimation, there is a toxic femininity and a toxic masculinity, except that toxic masculinity is spread very thin. And like when I think of toxic masculinity, I think of traits that men do or abuse throughout history. So things like womanizing, things like overly drinking, things about like gambling, stepping outside their family, so on and so forth, right? The truth of the matter is that is less and less in today's generation. I mean, 100 years ago, men would have, entire families on the other side of town. I mean, my father used to play cards 3 days a week, all hours, and get up and go to work or come home. And now I can't get a freaking card game on a Friday night during the lockdown, during COVID. I couldn't even put that together. The guys were just like, no, I can't play cards. I got to be home. I got to take the kids here. I got to take the kids there, and so on and so forth.
So you think they're more devoted to their children now?
Yeah, absolutely. Men.
Yeah.
Today, men I think are more devoted to families and children. I'm not saying that they're perfect, but I think compared to former generations, I think men are more devoted. I think when I say toxic femininity, and I think we see it a lot. Okay, I think because women love women. No, let me rephrase that. Women anybody will take advantage if they get away with it. So if you have a group of people that continuously get away with something, they're going to take advantage of it. Yeah. So in a woman's world, things like manipulation and playing the victim and false accusation and reputation destruction, that's more of a woman's nature. And that is what they tend to abuse. And that to me is toxic femininity. So, like, for example, for a small example.
Oh, wait. Before you continue.
Go ahead.
With that, I understand where you're going at. I understand you're saying that this is, I agree in some ways, like, yes, this is a feminine thing to do that. This is the way that females fight, right? Because we don't fight physically. We mostly fight by, reputation, destruction of your reputation or something like that. This is the way that we fight. But the only thing I disagree in is that I guess I don't know, like you already know that I don't think that a gender can be toxic. So I don't know. I guess I get what you're saying. It does make sense.
Yeah, you see, 100
I'm
years.
not gonna argue with semantics this time.
No, it's fine. Listen, you could disagree all you want. It's just like I said, 100 years ago, the things that men would do were definitely more abuse. So like I said, being violent, even violence in the street is lower now than previous generations, right?
Well, yeah, now they just shoot each other.
I'm sorry.
Now they shoot instead of
No, no, no,
fighting.
no. But even still, I know I know in the last year or two in the blue cities, crime has been going up. But basically, all in all, generally speaking, the generations have gotten less violent. The men have
Oh,
gotten less violent.
I've heard about it.
So yeah, and even hitting women is is down dramatically compared to less generations. My grandfather, if he didn't like what my grandmother would say, he would give her a slap, and that was acceptable back then, right?
Yeah, yeah. My
um
family too. Yeah.
yeah, but today it's the opposite. Like you said, it's not physical with them.
Do you think
So
that that is a testosterone issue? Because also, along with the violence rates going down, along with all of that going down, so are sperm counts.
yes,
So,
but well, the testosterone thing I don't think is due to society. I think it's due to more of pollution, more of different types of um, foods that we eat. It's not as natural, and so on and so forth, because a lack of physical exercise. More men are working indoors than ever before.
right. But
You
also, do
know.
you think that there's a correlation between the diet affecting the testosterone and sperm
Oh,
count?
oh
That
yeah,
is
definitely.
also affecting the behavior, which is making men less aggressive. That's why there's
Mm,
less fights. There's
I,
why
I,
there's
you know what? I don't know. I don't know. It's possible. I'd have to see. I'd have to read and see stats on it, but it is very possible. But I think the you okay?
okay.
All right, I could
It
edit that
seems
out too.
like everything was calm before I talked to you. And as soon as we hit record button, the kids start going crazy. The
Yeah,
cat
yeah, yeah,
jumping off the
yeah,
wall. I,
yeah,
it's just
yeah, 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 yeah. So basically, it's possible. It is very possible. I don't know. It sounds reasonable, but I'd have to like read about it, or see stats or correlations and actual correlations in order to agree. But it is very possible.
well,
I
check out the
know.
sperm counts. Sperm
Yeah,
counts
no,
are
I
low.
know. I know on the whole it is, but as far as it, I know on the whole, sperm count is down and testosterone levels are down on the whole. But I don't know if that directly affects the violent nature of a man in the home or outside the home. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Um,
I don't think it matters where it is. I think it's just
no.
violent nature in general, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 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 no. I agree. I am
Yeah.
saying that, but I don't know if the natural
Testosterone.
decrease of testosterone is leading to the lack of violence. That's all I'm
Mm,
saying. It's possible. Like
mhm,
I said, it sounds reasonable. It's very reasonable.
mm.
But so basically what I'm saying is years ago, men would be able to abuse that. Okay, would be able to abuse that because they could get away with it. Because giving your wife a slap 100 years ago, 120 years ago, it would be like, whatever, it would be shrugged off. Um, a man gambling too much, a man stepping outside his home, as far as womanizing, it would be looked at as be like kind of just brushed off, like no big deal, like normal.
Men will be men. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And today it's not. Today it's like that's horrible. Even men. I mean, you can be a group of men. I mean, I've been in the gym with young guys, and I'll see a young girl who's very fit. Maybe a girl in her 20s or 30s who's very fit, and she has the yoga pants on. And I'll say to one of the young guys, like, "Oh, look at that," and they'll be like, "Oh," and I'm like, "What?"
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I see what
So
you mean.
that's
Yeah, they're
what.
like,
So
oh, you
that's
can't
right.
do
They're
that.
just not. They're taught that is not where. So today, the female uh oh god the female side of things is becoming less and less guided, if you will. So it's exploding. So what I'm trying to say is the female toxicity is exploding because they're able to get away with it now. The pendulum has swung complete, but since they're not very violent, they do it in other ways. So you hear of women that try to get back at husbands or ex-boyfriends or whatnot, saying that they raped them and there's no proof, or they're saying that there's sexual harassment and there's no proof, or they maybe they do get violent, right? And the guy pushes her or slaps her back or something like that, and then they play the victim. These are all female things. Reputation destruction. It's terrible within teenagers, female teenagers, especially online. Two girls don't like each other, to get into a fight or something like that, and they just blowing it up all over Instagram and so on and so forth. And this leads to a lot of teenage suicide.
Right.
So it's. I think the MGTOW is a natural reaction to female, to feminine toxicity. So you just
like feminism was a reaction to
right, exactly. So you put that into an adult relationship. A girl wants to be out of her relationship with her husband because and then they use very vague terms. They'll say things like, well, I don't love him anymore, I fell out of love with him, he's not the same man he's becoming narcissistic, so on and so forth. But when you pinpoint it down and you try to like fold back the layers, and you have discussions with them, and you could tell that they're wrong, that all those things are not things legitimate to leave their husband. And when you peel back the layers and you get to the root of it, then what happens is they'll play the victim. But they play the victim because that's a female toxicity. So they'll say something, you don't understand how abusive he was, and so on and so forth. And then they'll even take advantage of the fact of that their finances are going to be greater with finances during the divorce. So they're going to gain more money during the divorce. And in order to justify it to themselves, they'll just say their husband, who was probably most likely, I mean, and every divorce is different, but the large majority of marriages or divorces are started by women, right? I think, what was it, 60%? 80%? That's a lot. So you can't tell me that 80%.
I think it's actually 78, but I just round up.
I thought so. I thought it was very high. So, divorces are started by women, more so in this country than ever. And you can't tell me that 78% of marriages are toxic or abusive or something, so on and so forth.
No, but women will say that, and they'll make it seem like it was worse than it was. Because once you get down to the root of the problem, they're actually saying it wasn't actually that bad. But then they'll say, well, you weren't there, you don't understand how that actually
exactly. So to me, that is female toxicity, and there's also no and they're also justifying it to themselves when they see an ex-husband that has to live back with their mother, or have to live in somebody's basement. And I've seen this firsthand with guys. Then you don't know how terrible it was, And
I've seen. The reason I say that I don't want to give toxicity a gender is because I've seen this in males as well. It's just more common in females. But
really, I very rarely see men being more manipulative, but less I have not seen men. To me, men are very straightforward, and the problem
it's starting to happen now because men are starting to know how to. They're learning from the women how to abuse the system. Do you know what I mean? And I have started to see this happen. Remember, I worked in law firms, so I would see this often when people start learning how to use the system to their advantage. Before, men wouldn't do stuff like that.
Well, what do you mean by use the system?
So, example would be like family courts and so on. They will make it seem like the woman was actually, they could honestly be telling the truth. But the fact that they didn't start off with this, I guess my example would be like this. If you have a case of a pair divorcing, there's children involved. They need to go to parenting classes and so on and so forth. So what happens is, well, they didn't have to, but what happened was the man would say, I want a divorce because me and my wife have, is it irreconcilable differences? What is it? Inconcilable differences.
Right. Irreconcilable differences, yeah.
Right. So they'll say something like that, and that will be the main premise for them wanting to leave. But then I'm sorry, the wife says that. My apologies. The wife says that. But then the husband will say, okay, well, I agree, that's why. Later on, you will see, once the wife tries to start pulling money from him and trying to say, like, I'm getting custody, blah, 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 he will start saying things out of nowhere and say, like, oh, there was this one time she hit the kids, and I think that the kids should be with me, and I think that she needs parenting classes because all of a sudden she's an alcoholic too. Don't mind you, all of a sudden she's an alcoholic. All of these things might be true.
But like you said, that seems like that is more of a reaction to it seems like when the men do it, it's more of It's more out of desperation because they feel
Yeah, but
every
it's a tactic. It's a
they
tactic.
feel everything moving out of their fingertips. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't men that aren't manipulative by nature. There are men like that.
Right.
But speaking generally, um, being manipulative, reputation destruction, lying, playing the victim, those are tendencies in a woman.
Do you think that
And there are obviously, I hold on one second. I'm sorry. Then I'll let you talk. Then obviously there are always exceptions to the rule, but the exception isn't the rule, right?
yeah, of course. The exception doesn't disprove the rule.
Yeah. So go ahead. Right. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask you. So when we're talking about like feminine toxicity,
Mhm.
female toxicity, or masculine, what's it called? Toxic masculinity. I hate
Yeah.
even saying it. Just
Yeah, yeah.
saying that makes me want to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
hurl. Um, so when you talk about toxic masculinity, it talks about like over aggressive behavior,
Mhm.
not being able to feel your emotions or not being able to express your emotions as part of toxic masculinity.
Mhm.
Do you believe that if a woman express those same behaviors, not being able to express her emotions and over aggression, would you still consider that to be toxic? And do you think that that is actually just a masculine behavior? If a woman does this as well, which is, I understand, is not typical and the exception does not disprove the rule, I understand that.
Mhm.
But when you see it in women as well, this aggression or something, will you say she's showing signs of toxic masculinity? Or would
Give
you
me
say
give me
she's
give me
being
an
toxic?
example. Give me an example of what, and then I'll answer it. Give me a like a specific example of something a woman does, and that seems more masculine.
Okay. Let's see. What's toxic masculinity again?
So let's say
Aggression
violence. Let's say fist
and not
fighting.
being able to express your emotions.
Okay.
A woman being not able to express her emotions all her life, she has just been this a bottle of, she doesn't cry. There's a lot of women who don't even cry, who are kind of stoic, that, especially now with the rise of women being more masculine,
Mhm.
this is on the rise now. So
Mhm.
her showing these traits, which are getting more common now because women are getting more masculine. We all know that women are getting more masculine. When these women start showing these traits, let's say she has a career that is dominated by men, whether it be in the legal field or whatever have you, she starts showing these traits that men around her do as well, right? So she is kind of like one of the guys, no? But then she has these traits. So would you still say it's toxic femininity because she's a woman? Toxic masculinity because they're masculine traits? Or is it just toxic in general?
Mhm. Mhm. Um, you used to work in a law firm.
Yes.
How many years did you work in?
I was a paralegal. I
How
used to
many
be.
years were you work as a paralegal?
Not that many, maybe 3,
Doesn't matter.
4.
Did you ever have a bad day at work?
Yeah, of course.
Did you ever cry at work? Say yes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. What happens to you when you cry at work? What do the people around you do for you when you cry at work?
Well, I would never cry in front of people, but if I
Yeah.
did, I understand what they would do. They would console me.
Right. Can a man cry at work?
No.
Is your answer. A woman could still use her feminine ways to manipulate. So
Wait,
even
that didn't answer my question
no,
though.
it does, because what I'm saying is a woman can show
So she can
some,
still revert to her femininity, you mean?
yes, exactly, in order to manipulate.
I see.
See, if a man has a bad day at work,
Mm,
or he has a bad day and his personal life is he keeps his, generally speaking, he keeps his mouth shut. He kind of laces up his boots, and he
mm,
goes to work, and he deals with it. And he doesn't cry. He might express some concern if he has a close friend at work, maybe to vent and talk, but he doesn't cry. He doesn't let it get in the way.
mhm,
But with women, and if a guy would, it would be unexceptional.
mm,
It would be unacceptable, rather. Sorry. But with a woman being a woman, she can go out with the guys and have a few beers after work and hang out and laugh and tell naughty, dirty jokes and maybe even go to the strip club.
mm,
But her feminine side is still accepted.
mhm,
Okay. We had this one girl at my job. I work in the sewer, very masculine job. Okay. We had this one girl who will remain nameless, and she made a mistake. And it was a significant mistake. There were guys down at the bottom of the plant, and their water started rushing in, and it was her fault. and she blamed one of the other workers. And then during the meeting, she cried.
And she got slack. I mean, she got a lesser punishment.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, a woman could use both in the workplace.
So
And it is acceptable. So do I think what I'm saying is, do I think there's a difference between toxic femininity and toxic masculinity? 100%.
But what would you label my example? That woman, like I said, she's
Mm-hmm.
exhibiting these behaviors. Is she a toxic femininity, a toxic masculinity, or she's just exhibiting toxic behaviors that anyone can exhibit?
Well, I don't think, like I said, I don't think a man would exhibit what I said. All right. A woman could be violent. We've seen women be violent. We've seen women get into street fights, right?
They're more violent than men.
Okay, yeah. I mean, there are times, but it's the aftermath and even how they go about fighting, which makes it feminine. So what I mean by that is, when I was young, or even to young kids today, when two guys fight, you bring your friends, I bring my friends, and we fight. Okay, and there are unspoken rules. All right, there's no biting. Okay, I mean, it does happen, and there's no scratching or pulling of the hair. But those are basically unspoken rules. It's basically you just knuckle up and you fight, right?
Right.
When two women get together and they're gonna fight, which is a very masculine trait, you bring your friends, I bring my friends. A lot of times, what happens is, first of all, there are no unspoken rules. There are scratching, hair pulling, biting, and a lot of times their friends can't control themselves from jumping in because they get so emotionally involved that one side jumps in and it becomes a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Now, generally speaking, when two guys have a fist fight, after the fist fight's over and one guy loses, if it's a one-on-one, the guys don't jump in unless something happens.
Right.
And then what happens is, a lot of times those two guys gain respect for each other.
Right.
The guy who loses respects the other guy and understands that he's higher on the hierarchy. But the guy who wins gains respect for the man who stood up for himself.
Right. Who didn't get scared and run.
That doesn't happen with women.
No, it doesn't. I have seen men actually fight. I've seen men fight, like,
and then shake hands.
Fight.
Yeah.
Shake hands. No, not only shake hands. They became best friends.
Absolutely. Because there's a mutual respect, because that is ingrained in us from primitive times. So women don't do that. Once a woman gets into a fight, physical fight, which is masculine, the end result is always feminine. So it's always, we hate each other. I hate you. I'm going to go home and I'm going to destroy your reputation. I'm going to go on Facebook. I'm going to go on Instagram. I'm going to start rumors that you slept with this one. I'm going to start rumors that you slept with that one. I'm also going to tell all your friends that you're a terrible human being. And I'm going to tell anybody who's interested in talking to you, you're a terrible human being.
It never ends.
And men don't do that. So that's what I mean when I say, can women exhibit traits that are male? Absolutely, 100%. Like you said, they can go to work every day. They can have a blue collar job. They could drink with the guys after work. But those feminine traits will always be there, and they're always there. And it's even when it comes down to the most primitive trait, like being violent. There's a way a woman does it, and there's a way a man does it.
True.
Does that answer your question or no?
It does. I mean, I still just I do understand what you're saying. Like I said,
I mean, listen, there are toxic environments, period, generally speaking.
Yeah.
But the genders are different. They do act different. And again, there's exceptions to the rule, right? But we're talking generally. Talking generally.
I know.
And this going back to the original conversation we were having is that this toxic femininity is causing this reaction from men that go, I want nothing to do with these women. And that's MGTOW.
I watch a lot of MGTOW content. I don't know if I asked you last time if you knew Undead Chronic. You said no. But I did have I
Good.
did have a live stream with Undead Chronic, and
What's
he
his
is
name? Undead
un,
Chronic.
Undead Chronic. He
Undead.
is he's not MGTOW, but he's a red pill creator.
Yeah.
Very, very famous like in this community.
Yeah.
YouTube has deleted his channel numerous of times. So now his
Mm.
channel is like number 14, and it's hard to get all of his subscribers.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They keep
So
deleting
now,
him and have to keep starting over. So
now there is a difference between being red pill and being MGTOW. Why don't you
I
explain the
know.
difference?
I know
For our
that.
audience, why don't you explain the difference for
Oh,
the
sure.
audience?
Yeah, sure. MGTOW is an acronym for men going their own way. That means that they are no longer interested in the concept of marriage, uh, anything that has to do with a woman, cohabitating, all of that, spending money on a woman is strictly prohibited, and so on and so forth. They are focused on self-improvement, how can I say this? I guess that's the best word to say it, self-improvement,
Mhm.
and all about themselves, making money. Yes, they will have sex. Yes, they will enjoy a night with a woman, but that is the end of the
Mhm.
party. Um, Red pill, however, red pill is more of, I hate to use the term awakening because the term woke has been so
Yeah, stolen
severely
from the left. Yeah.
right. It's been so
Yeah.
severely, but being red pill is, pardon me, it is no longer seeing the illusion. It's almost like getting out of the matrix. It's basically
Mhm.
seeing the truth for what it is and
Right.
accepting it, and eating your veggies instead of enjoying ice cream. It
Right,
is
right.
the
Good,
truth.
very good analogy. Very good analogy.
Right.
So they understand how women operate, and they basically still get involved with women, but they understand
But
how they operate, and they basically don't bow down to it. They don't take the knee.
a red pill
Yeah,
man, even if he were to marry, he would marry under very strict conditions
yeah.
and under the acceptance of a woman's nature, knowing what could happen, knowing what she is possible or capable of doing,
Hmm.
even if she doesn't seem like it. He will always keep an eye out because he knows the true nature,
Yeah,
and that's the difference
perfect.
between.
You
Yeah.
couldn't. I couldn't have said it better myself. Absolutely perfect. Yeah. So go ahead. So you had this person on Dead Chronic on. So good. So how did the interview go or whatnot?
It went well. I brought this up not to talk about our conversation, but to bring up the fact that I do watch a lot of red pill
Okay.
content and a lot of MGTOW content, and I do
Mhm.
understand. And yes, I'm a chameleon. Okay, let's already just let it out of our systems. I'm a chameleon.
Okay.
I get it. I get
That's
it.
okay.
Um, so oh, by the way, you guys don't understand what chameleon means. It is a term in the manosphere for a woman who pretends to understand the flight of men, and in the end, she will turn around and do the same things to you
Right.
that the other feminists would.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
So
Right.
I'm a chameleon, aren't I? So
Okay.
no matter,
That's why you're
am I
wearing
right?
green. That's why you're wearing green.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna change in a few seconds. It's gonna be blue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so anyway, so my point was to tell you that I watch a lot of this content, and I do notice, god, we were going somewhere with this. We were going somewhere with it, but I forgot exactly what was the main point of me telling you about this. But we can keep on going. I'll
You
figure it
said
out.
Undead Chronic. He was more of a red pill. His channel was flagged
Yeah, I
by
was trying to basically tell
YouTube.
you that I am all the time learning more and more about,
Mhm.
what, I guess, how do I say it, what I didn't know before, even
Mhm.
about myself, even about female nature, female behavior, and why I did certain things and why I saw the world so differently. Does that
Mhm.
make sense? When I'm
Absolutely.
watching this kind of content as a female, you don't understand how that feels. Maybe you as a male, you watched and you're like, yeah, yeah, I understand. For me, it's kind of a mental trip, it's like what.
Mhm.
It's almost like you taking a mirror and then like having a mirror behind your head at the same time, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And you're like, "Well, really, is that me? Could that be me?"
Mhm.
So that's what I wanted to say about the whole red pill content, because it woke me up in a lot of ways that I never expected as well. And as a woman, it's trippy to watch that kind of content.
Oh yeah, there are certain ones I watch, and there are certain ones I listen to and I watch, but it's the ones I watch are informative. Like I when I first found out about MGTOW and Red Pill, I watched a bunch of them, and some of them were just basically bitching and complaining about women, and I just couldn't deal with
Oh
that.
yeah,
The
there's a
ones
lot.
the ones I do watch, I watch two in particular. One guy's really good. Is
His
Coach
name.
Coach Red Pill. He lives in the Ukraine now. He's American, but his parents from Chile. I forgot his name. Has a Spanish name. I forgot his name, but he is so in tune with human nature and how men and women differ and the gender differences and what the
Hmm.
nature is and the instincts. It's fascinating to listen to him. So it is called. I'm pretty sure it's called Coach Red Pill. That's the name of his channel. The other guy is Better Bachelor, and he's not as good, but what he does is he brings up a lot. He brings up a lot of articles that show what happens in certain divorces or certain relationships or certain female toxicity, so on and so forth. So that's really interesting. And
I
sometimes
want to suggest one to you.
go ahead, sure.
Yeah, as for a better bachelor, he can show you better than he can tell you, which is the good thing. He shows you better
Yes,
than he tells you. And
exactly,
there's another
exactly.
person who does the same thing like that, and he does it in a better format, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. His name on YouTube is Manosphere Highlights Daily. Manosphere Highlights Daily. That's MHD. He goes by MHD, and
MHD.
his recent content within the last few months has been phenomenal. Like
Mm-hmm.
he goes through YouTube, searches through all the feminist nonsense, all of that. He swims through it, grabs
Mm-hmm.
the important pieces, and shows it to us in
Mm-hmm.
a way that's palatable for anyone to understand
Okay,
what we're talking about.
I'll
And
check it out. I haven't checked him out, but I'll definitely check him out. And there were a couple of them that I forgot. There was another couple of them when I first started about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I started really listening to podcasts and whatnot. And like I said, a lot of them were just bitching and moaning about women, and there wasn't anything informative behind it. So I dumped it. I would stop listening to it.
there's a
Where
thing called MGTOW rage, and there's a lot of creators that are still in the rage phase. There's phases to MGTOW, so they say. There's like a rage phase, a solitude phase, a monk phase where you're like completely against everything. There's also like
yeah, yeah.
there's another like incel. I don't think it would exactly be into MGTOW, but it's
Hmm.
kind of close. But yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I know this much. I think I'm more red pill than MGTOW. Well, I am more red pill. I understand female nature, even though sometimes
Aren't you
I
married?
yes, yeah,
You can't
yeah.
be MGTOW if you're married.
No, I know. That's why I said I'm red pill.
Yeah.
Because I made sure that it took me a very long time to get married. I didn't marry until I was 38. And I basically just wanted to get my career down, and then I wanted to make sure that I meet the right woman. I wasn't just going to marry anyone. And I married for character, and my wife has tremendous character and tremendous tradition behind her. So it seems to be working out rather well. But uh, basically, I adhere to look. Women are going to be women, and there are certain strategies and ways that men could adhere to that help. How can I put this? Keep those instincts at bay, if you will. Okay.
Mm.
um and I think what happens is a lot of guys, they kind of dive straight in, and they are 100% devoted family men, loving whatever they need to do. And once you I think once you become, as a man, once you become 100% devoted and 100% anything that she wants, I think that's when they start taking advantage. No, thank you, thank you, thank you. So basically, once in a while, as a man, you got to be a prick. And
I agree. I
that
agree completely. I told my husband, now this is just between us and whoever's watching, I guess,
that's okay.
but between us,
That's okay.
I told my husband, I am a good woman. I am very traditional. I am
Mhm,
everything that I preach to for everyone else to be. I am
mhm.
that. You can see the example in my life. But
Yeah, yeah.
the problem is that me being a woman, especially for my husband, no matter how good I am, no matter whatever I say, I still have the capability to do that. If one day I change my mind, what if
Absolutely.
I woke up one day and said, you know what, I want to ruin someone's life today?
Yeah, and
I
especially
can
when
do
there's
that.
really no consequences.
There's no consequence to it, and there's I can do it if I
Yeah,
wanted to. I could, and
yeah,
that's the sad
absolutely.
part. And that's because the way the system is here in the
Yeah.
West, it sets it up that way where women, how can I say this? It's like making an alcoholic, you know, like an alcoholic who is trying his best to not
Yeah.
drink. What this Western world does is put an alcoholic in the middle of Las Vegas where there's 24-hour drinks everywhere,
Yeah,
bars,
yeah, yeah. Very
and
good.
they're
Yeah.
like, be
Yeah.
good now.
Yeah, yeah,
Be
yeah.
good now. And
Yeah,
the woman is
behave
supposed
yourself. And you're like, well, if you don't behave, yeah, and there's no accountability. There's zero accountability too. So like, you know, there's just no accountability. I mean, it's so funny. It really is. It's so funny. But it's like, you know, I've heard plenty of girls say things like, you know, he's too nice. I don't like him. He's too nice.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And I had to
yeah.
learn. I had to learn that the hard way. There were girls when I was very young that I really liked, and I would do things like bring them flowers or visit them at work, and I would turn them off, or they would take advantage of me. You know, and every guy
Do you
could.
oh
I'm,
sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I apologize. I
No,
didn't want to cut you
no,
off.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you struggle to quote unquote be a prick sometimes to your wife? Because although I know you might even have the instinct where you want to be like giving everything and you want to, do
Yeah.
you struggle to hold back and to keep your not composure, god, there's a term for it, but you know what I mean. Do you struggle
Yeah.
with that, or
No, 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 no. I have. You know, listen. The truth is, the more masculine you are, the more of a bit of a prick you're gonna be.
okay.
Okay, and then if you, all right, I'm gonna say something, and I'm not gonna let my wife hear this. I'm gonna let her not watch this one, but I'm gonna say it. Okay, if your wife believes or your girlfriend believes that her man is the best that she's gonna get, she's not gonna leave you.
You're not gonna go.
It's look. So here it is in a nutshell. Okay, the reason why women take advantage of guys that are so nice is because women are instinctively hypergamous, which means they, you know what that means, right? So for the audience, which means they just wanna, it's their instinct to try and get the better class of men so that they can be supported better, even though today it doesn't really mean much, but instinctively that's what happens. So when a man is too nice, a woman takes advantage and starts resenting him because instinctively she thinks to herself, well, this person is being so good to me. I must be a better catch and I deserve better than him. Right. And instinctively when a man treats his wife like crap, that's when she's always kind of like trying to fix him kind of deal, right? It's the complete opposite. So there has to be this balance where it's like you could love your wife and be compassionate toward your wife, but at the same time there are ways you could be where it says to your wife, you couldn't do this without me.
Right.
You know,
I want
you
to give you a
couldn't do this,
different
you
way of
couldn't,
looking at
yeah, you couldn't do this without me. You know, we couldn't have this life without me. Which is true,
it. Right.
but which is very true. But a lot of men don't realize it or don't say it. And they just kind of think that that's what they're doing. So when you fuck up, like if I'm out and I play cards late or I go out and have a few drinks, what that's kind of showing, oddly enough, is that I have options. I don't have to bow down to you. I'm the one that has the options.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to go out and have a few drinks and come home at 5 o'clock in the morning, or if I want to go play cards, or if I want to go buy something that I want, and I don't need I don't need any acceptance from
No
you.
opinion. Yeah, I don't
Right.
need your right.
But at the same time, when you establish that and you do give her nice things, they appreciate it more.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's a game. It's like a dance.
it is. And the problem is it used to be more natural because years ago men were more masculine and they fucked up more.
Well, I wanna also give you another way of
So
looking
go
at it
ahead.
because
Go ahead. Yes.
your example was very good, but I
Thank
want
you.
to give you the way that
Go ahead.
that I see that women look at it, and the way that I see women look at it is this way. Especially the prettier the woman, the more attention she gets from many men.
Mhm.
So that could be in the form of looks, hi's, how are you, hey,
Mhm.
how you doing, kind of type, or it could
Yeah,
be in the form
anything.
of DMs, you know, DMs,
Mhm.
Instagram DMs. That's why I don't have any of that. Um, uh, So what I think about the whole men being a jerk thing that women get attracted to is because you differentiate yourself from other men by
That's right.
not being
That's
that
right.
sweet, and
That's
and
right.
that when there's so many men doing it,
He's not even acting appropriate. Everybody else does. He's not even acting appropriate.
why isn't he following in line?
He must be a higher valued man. He must have more to offer.
There you go. Why aren't you following in line with the other ones? If you keep following in line, and no matter how nice you think you're being, you're bringing the girl flowers, you're doing all this. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the audience.
I
But if you're
understand.
bringing a
Yeah.
girl, you're bringing her flowers, you're doing all those things. It is a nice thing, and it is a nice gesture, and she will think it is nice. But another thing that she will think is, but other guys are doing this too. All the other guys are doing this too.
Right.
You're not really doing anything new. And if you are doing this, well, then that means you're very grateful to have me, and you should be bowing down.
That's right. That's right. And that's exactly what happens. And you see, there's no reason to be rude. So as a guy, if you want to approach a woman that is you're very attracted to, there's no reason to be rude.
Yeah.
But don't just compliment her and think that that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, it is what you're supposed to do technically, but that girl has been getting compliments all day long.
Since 14, 15, she's been getting this.
That's it. Guys have been tripping over her.
Mm-hmm.
So, my attitude and what I tell like young guys that want to meet a girl that's, that they think is attractive and so on and so forth is just don't be rude, be nice, talk to her, but don't compliment her and don't approach her in a complimenting way. So let's say you meet a girl at the gym, whatever. Don't say to her, wow, you really look great. How long have you been working out? And like, you're going to do a contest anytime? No. Just talk.
Like
how you doing?
normal.
How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day, don't talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't even see you.
I didn't see it there. Oh my God, how are you?
Yeah, I didn't know. Because think about it. Women, since women act like women, that's what women do, right? So women will do that. The better looking a man, the more masculine the man, the more physically impressive the man, the more money the man has, the more beautiful woman will ignore him. Mm-hmm. Because that's what she thinks makes her a higher value woman. That's like how her mind works. Mm-hmm. And vice versa. The way a man's mind works is, well, if somebody complimented me like that, I would be right.
Because men are hard for attention and women are not.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to say this right before my husband comes up because he just got home, but I need to say this.
No, it's all right. We'll cut it off soon.
You just brought up the no. I'm okay to say. I just want to say this quick piece. So you just brought up the fact that you like go out and you play cards late or something because you want to show your woman like I can do that. When I got married at 23. I didn't know that this is what men do. So when my husband was doing this to me, I know now. Okay, I didn't tell it to him.
Yeah.
I know now though. So watch. He used to. What he would do is this. He would go out. He wouldn't tell me anything. He'd just go downstairs, and then I would come downstairs. He's not there, and I'd be like calling him. At 23, you're still a brat. Where are you? Why are you not saying anything when you're leaving? If I did that, you wouldn't like it. I was like, nagging a little bit. And he never told me why he does this. And then I started realizing that this is his way of basically showing me that I'm not controlling him. I'm not in control of him. Like he doesn't have to tell me and notify me every time he's leaving the house or something, or when he's gonna come back. I was like, okay, I get it now.
But he's probably doing it instinctively. He's probably not doing it even intentionally. So if I go out and I have a couple of drinks with the guys, or I go to a strip club with the guys right after work, or if I go to play cards, I'm not doing it intentionally. I'm doing it because I want to do it, and that's the type of guy that I am. Do you know what I mean? Which basically, so what compliments me is more of a feminine woman. Right. So that's what compliments me. So the guy that is like completely and totally attentive to his wife and nothing else exists outside of that, he's going to get more of a dominant woman because he's more submissive. That's just the fucking way it goes.
That's true. It doesn't work out.
But then with that woman, because instinctively she's going to lose respect for him and start hating him after so many years. Yeah. And that's basically the what happens. It's just natural.
Back on the main topic, we're talking about this and how men get taken advantage of. A lot of the MGTOWs that are current MGTOWs, started off as we call it, simps.
Really
You
nice
know,
guys.
they
Absolutely.
started off as blue pilled men, blue
That's
pilled guys,
right.
blue pill meaning that you do anything for the woman, you're
That's
in
right.
complete illusion of her grace and her kindness, and you think
Mhm.
all of the things that the Disney fairy tales have told you.
Right.
That's more of a blue pill person. And a lot of them turn into MGTOW. They don't just go from blue pill to red pill. They go straight to MGTOW.
Right,
Like,
right, 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 right.
forget
You see, what the problem is that men are supposed to go out and work hard for their wives and their families, but they're supposed to have some time to fuck off as well, and that's what's lost. Okay, you're supposed. All right, great movie, Goodfellas. Did you ever see it?
yeah.
Did you ever see Goodfellas? Okay, there's a scene where Henry Hill, who is making a ton of money, he has a girlfriend, right, and his wife, they have a beautiful home and she has all kinds of cars and jewelry and money. And his wife finds out he has a girlfriend and she goes to the girl's house, right, the apartment building. And
I remember she
she's
rushed it.
screaming
Yeah.
at, she's screaming at
Yeah.
it, Janice Rossi. And what does she say? She doesn't say, I'm going to get a divorce. You could have him. She says, get your own goddamn man. That's my husband. That's what I mean. Obviously, that's an exaggerate. I mean, that's obviously, well, it's not exaggerated. That stuff really did happen, but obviously that's intense. So here's a guy who does care for his wife and his kids as far as financially, they have everything they could ever want,
Mm.
but he fucks off a lot. And
Mhm.
that's masculine toxicity. That's toxic masculinity.
Do you think
Womanizing
that's toxic? You think that's toxic? I
to that extreme, yes. To that extreme.
I already told my okay,
Yeah,
like we're
yeah.
talking about random things
Yeah.
again.
To
Uh,
to that extreme, when you don't come home and you have your girlfriend, you're living at your girlfriend's house, and you're a gambler and a killer and 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 a gangster. Yeah, that's toxic. I mean, it can't not be, but that's a those are masculine traits, right? Being violent, gambling, girls, going out all night, making money through illegal things. That's those are all masculine traits. Um, but back to what we were saying, she wasn't going to leave him, and his boss in the movie even says she'll never divorce you, she'll kill you, but she'll never divorce you, right?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
He said, "I don't know what I'm gonna do," because he wanted to divorce her, but they say you can't leave her. She's that's the wife, or that's the mother of your kids. You
well,
can't leave.
that's
He
right.
wanted to listen.
That's right. And his boss came to the apartment with his girlfriend, and he said to her, "You're not going to get a divorce. You're not animal in Italian. You're not an animal. You're not
Yep.
going to leave your wife." Because that's truly how the old school Italians were. Killing and making money is a different story, and having a girlfriend and so on and so forth, and going with hookers. That's what men do. But getting
Mm-hmm.
divorced, that's a no-no.
You can't. Yeah, and that's what he said. He's like, "You're not getting a divorce."
Yeah,
He was
you're not
like,
gonna
and
get a
he told
divorce.
the
And he
boss, he was
goes,
like,
you
"I don't
gotta
know
go
how to
home.
leave."
Yeah,
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 he's
yeah.
like, "You gotta go home."
Hey, you gotta go home. You gotta go home. Yeah, smarten up. You gotta go home. Yeah.
He was like, "Have another baby." He said he told her, "Even have a baby, have a something, make things
Everything's
fun."
gonna be beautiful. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. yeah, yeah.
that's how things were solved back then. That's
You
no problem.
know, yeah, right. But today, because women can get away with pretty much anything and they're not accountable, and there are no consequences for pretty much anything that they do, then now they hold the power.
Do you
Yeah.
notice how we're talking about that situation, and the situation where the woman saw all the issues, but never once did she mention divorce. In this situation that we're living today, women are so finicky. Like, you can do one thing wrong, you can snore, and they don't like the way you snore, and they're wanting to divorce
Yeah.
you. It's insane.
Yeah.
Women are so
Yeah.
finicky and
Mhm.
sensitive, and they're not strong. They claim how strong women, we're
Nah.
so strong women, but the moment that there's a problem,
Yeah.
you want a divorce.
I still believe that if I still believe that if you act like that, if you are that kind of man, and you are when you are that kind of man that's very masculine and does have some traits where you fuck off from time to time, and I still believe that keeps your wife interested, if you will,
It does.
for lack of a better term. I really still believe till this day. I still
There's things
believe
that a
that.
woman will tolerate from certain men that they
Yeah,
won't tolerate
yeah.
from others.
And they could say everything they want. They could say, because they'll tell, or they'll say it all the time. I mean, I got friends at work that the things they tell me that they do. I'm like, holy shit, and their wives aren't going anywhere. The ones that leave are the ones that are the guys that are doing everything for them. So it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, unfortunately, I'm gonna call it a night because it's over here in Jersey. It's getting late. I don't even, what time is it over here? It's 20 after 12.
Well, the good thing is tomorrow there's no work. Like
That's
we have a
right.
business, so
Yeah,
I still
yeah.
have paperwork to do, but there's no
Yeah,
actual.
yeah, yeah. Tomorrow we're off. Tomorrow I'll be working in my basement. I started renovating my basement, so tomorrow I'll be working in my basement.
Nice.
You know, and
What are you gonna do for Memorial Day?
oh no, nothing much. It's been shitty weather. It's been raining all weekend. I worked
Mm,
today. I worked yesterday, and tomorrow because it's raining, nobody's really doing much. So my wife is just going to be cooking. I'm going to be working in the basement. And that's about it. Nothing crazy. We might, just maybe get a movie in or something tomorrow night. And that's about it.
yeah, keep it nice. Yeah, it's
That's
just like
all.
a rest
Yeah,
day.
yeah, nothing crazy. Because then Tuesday starts, then she's got to go back to work. I got to go back to work, and then the craziness starts all over again.
Yep, yep.
But
Mm.
listen, I really appreciate you doing this, and this is a nice part two to the first for the first part. And I think it's gonna do well again. I really do.
Thank you.
Oh no,
Yeah, I
thank
didn't want to
you.
leave it so open.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you again for doing this. So really, have a good night, and I'll touch base with you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.